Well, we have some good news and some bad news. The bad news is we have a Category 5 hurricane that is heading straight for CJ race cars. So that is extremely bad. The good news for you guys is we've had some footage that we've been sitting on that we haven't been able to do anything with. And with all the guys gone today and the shop all ready, the best we could get it ready for the hurricane, we're going to have a few hours while we're basically just boarded up waiting for this thing to come to edit this video and get it out to you guys. You can see we got all the big bay doors. We have work trucks from the general fab side backed up against them. We got tubes across the top of the doors. Hopefully the doors do not have an issue. I don't think we'll flood here, so we should be good in that respect. But if you're in Florida, hopefully everyone gets out of this okay with minimal damage. Welcome back to CJ Race Cars 2 YouTube channel. We've had a ton of questions on the main channel about notching tubing, fitting tubing, welding tubing, and also a lot of stuff about how we fix your stuff to the jig. So we're kind of going to kill two birds with one stone today. Danny is notching one of the more difficult tubes that we have to notch for this car behind me, and he's using a fixture to notch it. He's on the mill, so we're going to go over there and check him out. You can also see we have a ton of fixtures in place right here behind me. We use fixtures as much as possible. Anything that makes a job quicker and makes it more efficient, more accurate, and that way we can replicate stuff also. So that way every car is not different, tubes aren't in the wrong spot, stuff's not crooked. Fixturing is super important, and we do it on everything we possibly can that we know we're going to do more than once. So let's go check Danny out now.
There we go. Sorry.
Dang!
Sorry.
Oh,
it
man.
wasn't working. And then
I won't have to worry about my hand rusting.
you be all right. That's what you get for sneaking up behind me.
Maximum drive shaft clearance.
Yeah,
You're not going to get much more
we
than that
have
there.
had it more than that, but really kind of hard to weld it right there.
The inside is
13 and a half is on the high side, so it should be 13 and 7/16.
Oh, hey,
That's not fastened down yet.
This is a drive shaft containment tube that goes in the back between the lower cross member and the seat bar. Obviously this is really long. It'll get cut here, and there'll be another one up top, which is the other one we notched. But you can see that notch. That tube's pretty much gone. The reason we do that is these radial cars have separation, and you want to get as much separation as possible, so we notch them to where the drive shaft has more clearance. That notch, without that fixture that we have over there, would be a lot more of a challenge. Thankfully, we have that fixture to help make it a little nicer. So,
Yep, it'd be real hard without it.
yeah. But you can see that thing fits cherry. So the weld would be really nice with no gap there. You can see we couldn't have taken much more off there, and we would have had nothing in the middle. And it works out good with the way we do our tin work. Taylor loves doing a tin work in the middle of there, so it's all notched and ready to go.
That's probably the worst piece of sheet metal in the entire car to make.
Yeah, that piece is
Because-
well, you have so many different planes.
Yeah, you have a curve, and then you have straight, and one side's got to kind of roll on that. One side can be kind of angular, and it's just not friendly.
Well, and then your loop is in the center on the bottom, it's in the center and the top. So you got it just a lot of different
Yeah.
planes. Angles, bends, twists, notches.
Good thing the
Taylor
sheet
loves
metal's
it.
thin.
Yeah, right. But yeah, one of the probably more challenging notches. The other notch that's similar to that is the funny car cage bar gets notched similar to that up top, like a real long notch that you can do.
Oh, yeah. We use the same principle on the end mill, except we don't have a fixture to hold that.
Right.
We just kind of clamp it really good and tight in the vise and kind of block it up a little bit so it can't just move real easily, and go nice and slow and easy with it. You don't want it to grab. If it grabs and wants to pull the thing out of the end mill, you're probably going to ruin the tubes. You could chip the cutter pretty bad, and it's just not good for the machine.
Yeah, for sure. Even in our regular notchers that we have two of the Mittler Brothers notchers. When you're doing tubing, and we'll show you guys this, when you're doing like this tube here, which he's still working on this one here, but when you're doing like the 1 5/8 stuff, it's not too bad because the 083 wall, you start doing some 049 and some 035, and you got to be really careful you don't catch it with that notcher, because that notcher will catch that thin wall stuff and just bend it up real quick.
Yeah, like if you, let's say you're going to make a 45-degree notch. Well, you find out that 45 needs to be like a 40 or a 35. Now you're going to come in at an angle to where it's going to want to grab. If you set this angle like this, well, let's say you need to come in and cut here, but not here. That notcher wants to grab this edge. And if it grabs it just hard enough, it'll just snap that thing and bend that right down. And you think the world's going to come to an end with the notcher.
Yeah.
And then if you got to notch quite a bit, that's fine. You can go back in and just keep cutting, and that'll all disappear. But if it grabs it really bad and bends it bad enough, that piece of tubing is basically useless.
Yeah.
And you don't know when it's about to happen, but when you know that, it's almost too late.
For sure. And it happens more so with thinner wall tubing, right?
Thinner the worst.
Yeah. So like the 049, some of the nitrous car stuff is really thin, 049. Even 058 will do it worse than 065 or 083. This stuff's not terrible. It still will do it, but it's not as bad as the thinner stuff. The thinner stuff will fold up on you, and you can always tell when it happens because usually the piece of tubing comes out of there and Danny lets you know. In the other side shot, you hear ting, 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 and then that's how you know something happened. Danny's.
The piece of tubing usually doesn't come out. It just goes a real loud snap, and you got warning though. That's why you'll see me.
But I'm saying once it does that to you, I know it happened because you tossed the tubing across.
Throw it away, throw it down because you're mad. Yeah. Okay.
That's bad about doing
Oh, this is virtually impossible, or 049, and you can't hold it in there real strong, and it'll grab that upper edge and just bend it right down, and I mean...
Yeah. We don't use this tubing very often. The only place we use this tubing in a door car is above the funny car cage, and we do that because it gives you more clearance. But this is used a lot in like dragster stuff.
Expensive tubing, right?
It is I think this stuff's like $25 a foot or something.
Probably right.
But yeah, we don't use that a lot, but yeah, that is tricky because there's no way to really clamp it in the vise that we have very easily. And it's super thin. I can't remember if it's, when I order, if it's 49 or 35.
It's either 49 or 35.
Might be 35.
I know the aircraft stuff, if you're making airplane stuff, it's all 35.
Yeah, this would be like aircraft, like landing gear and stuff.
If we have a notch going, because usually when we put these in on top of our funny car cage, it's not a straight notch. It's all set. So it really wants to grab it. And you just, if it gets bad enough, you just take a regular hand grinder and just grind it down close to it, then take one of these rolls we have here, and you just sand it by hand.
Yeah.
These won't grab it.
Another question we have had a lot is, what kind of welder do we use? We've seen tons of comments on our videos on the main channel about what kind of welders we use, what we prefer, lots of stuff like that. So if you guys have watched over our videos, you've seen that the only thing we use is Everlast. We have two Typhoon 230s and a Typhoon 330. These welders are awesome no matter what you want to do. If you're just practicing your garage, if you're just doing your own projects in your garage, race car stuff, general fab stuff, no matter what it is, we literally use these welders for everything from really, really small titanium parts that we do, that you've seen Andrew put together on a daily basis. He literally sits in that corner and welds 10 hours a day, 4 days a week. They're awesome. We also have, on the other side of this wall, we do a lot of general fabrication stuff. We do stuff for Disney World. We do stuff for Universal. We do a ton of stuff. They actually just got done welding like 200 of these assemblies at a 1/2-inch stainless with a Typhoon. Zero problems. They're awesome machines. And we have teamed up with Everlast. Click the link in the description below. You'll get a free pedal upgrade, and you will get a free Nova torch. We went from a machine that was basically 4 times what these Everlast cost to an Everlast, and no complaints. We love these machines. So. They got the drive shaft containment loop all welded up on the side. Danny got it polished up. Can't even tell that was ever 2 pieces. Danny does a killer job on that stuff right there. And there is a sleeve to align the two pieces inside there. It's only 2 inches long, and it fits really good. Like we talked about before, this is where the drive shaft comes through. The reason we keep this tight is for the radial, it separates. We want to make sure we have plenty of room down here for the drive shaft, even with the rear end hanging, if you're changing tires or whatever else. Looking to get a tubing notcher and you plan on notching a lot of tubing, these Mittler Brothers notchers are awesome. We have 2 of them. This is the first one we got, and the other one is a little bit different, and I'll show you that. So this one, you can only notch the tube from this side. You see, you can offset this. We got the vise where you can offset it to where you could notch the tube to the top or the bottom, which we do that in some cases. So this is something really nice to have. This is the second one that we got. We've had this for a few years now though. It also has the offset vise here to do offset notching. But you can see this one, you can move the vise to either side. If you want to do an offset notch at an angle, you have to be able to move it to both sides or it gets very tough. You could take this out and kind of like shim the tube up so it could cut on the bottom. Not very ideal, and the tube could grab and pull out of the vise. So this is nice for if you're going to do some offset notching and you, at an angle, you have the ability to swing the vise to the other side. Not super necessary if you're not doing a lot of that stuff. The other notcher over there is just fine, especially for starting out. When I first started the shop, we just had a hole saw notcher, which worked really well, but we notch a ton of stuff now. So this is definitely the way to go. One of the downsides with a hole saw notcher is if you want to take off just a little bit, it's a lot more difficult than with this. You could put this thing in and just barely touch it and take off a little bit, whereas if you have a hole saw notcher, you really need to be able to get a whole nother bite. So to take off a 1/16 of an inch with a hole saw notcher is kind of tough. As you saw earlier, the drive shaft enclosure loop that we did here, we did not do in the tubing notcher, and there's a reason for that. If you were to clamp this tube here and try to notch that with it hanging off, there's a very good chance that it would grab it and it would snatch it and you'd have a real issue. So that's why we made this fixture here. And as you can see, this fixture is extremely stout. It does not shake when you start notching. It's got, I think that's 3/4 or 1 inch plate there and 3/4 or 1 inch plate here with gussets. We machined it to bolt to our mill here. And you can see we got these grooves that are machined in this clamp that is also 1 inch plate. That clamps are looped to it, so you can machine the outside of both of them. We use this for multiple different things, some of our drive shaft enclosure stuff as well. But for the loops, this thing is awesome. So you put your loop in here, you make sure it's 0 degrees, 0 degrees, so your legs are straight. You know that thing's not kicked sideways, so when you do get it in the chassis, it's not crooked. And then you just ease up on it. You could see earlier, I was showing you guys a digital readout, so Danny will bump this thing up against the side, and that way he knows that he gets the exact same notch on both sides of it, which it doesn't necessarily have to be. You just need a lot more notch at the bottom, but we try to make them look the same. So we use a digital readout and make both sides notch the same depth. This channel for you guys to show you guys more detailed stuff than we could show on the main channel. The main channel is basically designed to show bigger updates. We don't want to show every single detailed thing because that's not something everybody wants to see, but we do know from the comments on the first channel that a lot of you guys do want to see the detailed stuff. So since this channel is designed for you guys, if you put in the comments below what you guys want to see, we will do our best to show that exact thing in as much detail as possible. We have some awesome guys here, especially the older guys are really good at showing how they do it and why they do it. And they're more than willing to do that on video. So make sure you comment below anything you guys want to see, and we'll do our best to start making more videos on this channel. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.